Hey everybody, it's Logan with High Desert, and hopefully things are starting to get a little better in our audio and video department because I have recently upgraded my phone. We got a microphone now, so hopefully now in some of these videos I can be heard or understood a little better. But as there's been more of you starting to come, which we greatly appreciate, and we just hit 100 followers and we are ecstatic. We didn't expect to see that kind of growth in such a short amount of time, so we really appreciate everybody's support in all these videos as we continue to make content and continue to work on things to not only help our company grow, but the industry as an entirety. We'd really like to see just continue to do better and work on things to help the industry as a whole, because when we all do better, everyone does better, and that's just the goal that we're trying to provide here, to work towards. I guess we're not providing anything. So one of the topics that I want to talk about that has been brought up a little bit is I'd like to address this little guy right here. And this is a very sensitive topic. It's talked about a lot in the police and security industry, and it is just a wonderful tool that came around a number of years ago that people have been just utilizing to help prevent the next step towards lethal intervention, because we always want tools to help save and protect lives, because our ultimate goal is the protection of life and property. And as a security guard, that's our number one: deter, detect, observe, report, protection of life and property first. We're not police officers. So when it came to deciding what taser to pick with this, I've used these in the law enforcement world, and the general consensus was the X26, which was my primary use, and it was a wonderful tool. It's a 5-second ride. You flip it on, shoot, 21 feet, everybody knows the drill. Well, this is the Taser Pulse, which is the civilian model. And I've seen security companies all over, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, people talking and saying that, why are they using a Taser Pulse? Oh, that's junk. Oh, the Taser Pulse, you need to be using an X26, or, law enforcement uses this. And I think a lot of the times people forget with security is that we are civilians. We're not cops. We don't have a duty to act. Police officers have a duty to act that says, if a crime is committed in front of them, they have the duty to take that person into custody. Whereas security guards don't have that duty. So when I was coming towards, my thought process and providing these for my officers in my company, I was coming from the stance of, we're civilians, and what are civilians using? And then when I ran it by my insurance company, they happened to agree and said, you're not police officers. This is a self-defense tool. And that's where I think a lot of security guards and police officers, there's this really gray area a lot of the time. And, when a security guard goes to use a self-defense tool in that aspect, they're working to defend their lives. And that's where my thought process came in with this is, this is a civilian model. This is going to give you a 30-second opportunity to get away, call for some help, get back up on the way, just create distance between you and the problem, drop it, run away. And that's where I think I'm trying to take this stance with this security company is, just defining the fact that we are civilians. We're not police officers. We're not sworn. We don't have a duty to act. So my thought process with this is a self-defense tool. We are defensive more than offensive. And you also have to remember is, what is this going to look like in court? Because ultimately the use of this is going to get torn apart in a courtroom should it lead that way. And as a security guard, at any moment, if you find yourself needing to use this, there will be an arrest made. There will be a crime that had been committed by the time the security guard would go to use this item. So the thought process, when deciding this was, I want to be able to sit in court as a representative of my company and say, my civilian security guard, was provided a civilian taser, and they used that item to effectively protect their life. And that resulted in this person being arrested for, the assault and battery, or, the simple assault of the security guard that felt threatened enough to use a self-defense tool to ward off that would-be offender. So I'd like to know what everybody else's stance is in this. I'm really on the fence with even providing these at all. And I'm starting to see a lot more look at, the taser use as a whole, and not only law enforcement, but as in general civilian hands as well, and in the security company, because ultimately we work for the insurance company. As a security owner, my number one job is to get insurance to cover us in the event that should something happen. And I have to keep the insurance company happy to want to continue to provide us insurance so we can continue working and continue keeping our clients safe and our properties protected and our officers protected. So everybody can continue to just do what they do, operate a safe and secure space, and our officers can come to work and feel safe and protected. So let me know down in the comments, like, if you're a security company, what are you issuing your officers to use? And, maybe what your thought process was behind your decision and why you chose, the Pulse versus the X26. Was it availability? Let's get some discussions going and, start growing as a community and as a whole together. And, let's bring some healthy topics that we can have some discussion about, because we all have an opportunity to learn from each other. And with these platforms, we can really gather so much knowledge to effectively do a better job for everyone. So thank you all for 100 followers, and we're going to keep continuing to upgrade our content and try to just create better topics for us all to talk about. So if there's a video topic that you want to hear talked about next, let us know in the comments. And again, thank you all for the followers to this point, and we can't wait to continue to provide security services and content for you guys. Thank you.